You're listening to the Go Lightly Martial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net. freedomtalkradio.net.
Hi guys, live today.
You mean they didn't hear what I was saying all the way through?
No, the last minute. So repeat what you just said. Do you remember? Alright, okay, so we're doing a live show. It's completely spontaneous.
I said I don't believe in the Sabbath, it's a load of
Oh, yes. That's because you are the Sabbath, you are the rest, you have...
Like, I can't get out of it. You're only going to do it once a bloody week, I've got to do it every day. So bugger that. It's a satanic thing anyhow, who cares?
God doesn't care about the Sabbath. No. So for all of the...
I get guts at every day of the week, it's alright with me. Just remember I take pay cut. And we're going to reduce tithing down to 5%. Not on grace.
And listen,
after tax.
Oh, all right. So
how taxing you anyhow, right?
How did Fiji and the
lead balloon story?
Lead balloons. We go to Fiji and start telling the people, well, the price is
church
back.
On the army base. Now the guy who was
I'll look
the
up
pastor,
the name of it. Yes.
his name was Manasseh, which is a name I don't like, and he had been charged with trying to cause a military coup, and he got 40 years jail. But Frank Bainimarama, after 7 years, showed mercy, and he let him out on a lifetime bail, providing he goes to Suva, which is 150-60 miles away, 200 kilometres, and report in. So he has to, and they don't earn a lot of money, these people, so he becomes a preacher. Now, preaching is very profitable, because no matter how poor these people are, they still give 10% on the tithing, you see. So he finds out from a friend of ours that we are into the religious game. So we get invited to speak at the church. Mistake. The first thing I say is, don't tithe. Help your families out. That's a load of crap. It comes from Babylon. Like lead balloon time.
Lead balloon, that's for sure.
And also that the Bible that they are reading out of was Freemasonry, and that's where you get your 666 from, because it's a Freemason Bible. So if any of you are on the internet, look it up. Freemason Bible. It's the King James Bible. All right? Well, Freemasonry in Fiji is a big no-no. They know what it's all about, the sacrifices and skull and bones and all that kind of stuff, see? However, on the radio yesterday we have Donnie. Now, hello Donnie, if you're listening. Lovely man. We've known him for a few years, and he and I had a bit of a chat there, and he's a 32 degree Freemason and a Knights Templar, and his show was called 32 Degrees of Insanity.
Well, it still is, apparently.
Oh, it is it?
Yes, it is.
And it's K-Beach Radio
FM from the university in
Long Beach, California. So he's doing a course in psychology there. I think he'd make a very good subject for people to have in his psychology classes, because they could examine him. And he did say that he had thought that and I just went straight through. I didn't even hear it, because I don't listen to crap, right? And
he had read somewhere that
the 12 apostles were an Anunnaki.
And it's just like the he didn't get it. I mean, I did. I was ready to, and Yah says, well, I don't even talk about Anunnaki, but he didn't understand what Donnie actually said. It reminds me of the time when you were in Nimbin, and we've got the goddess there channeling through the idiot.
No, let's get this set that up, right? We've got this follow-up that he believes in me 100%. He's a bit mental, which you have to be to believe in me. And this particular day, really gives me the horrors. He started kissing my feet, like, hello.
Okay, let's go back.
That gives you the scene.
No, it goes before that.
Let me have it my way, then you can tell the truth.
Okay.
I'll tell it the bullshit way.
All right.
Anyhow, he's a lovely fella, just the same. And he's into the drugs. And he's been on drugs for years, and his family put him away. He was in the psych ward for years and years and years. And he got a bit of acid. Is it acid? LSD.
LSD, yeah.
LSD, is it?
Yeah, but you're jumping the gun. This is another time.
I'm telling it my way.
All right, babe. Go. It's your way or the highway.
So, when we go up to visit there a short time afterwards, he gives us a hash cookie, right? Because
he'd heard that I'd never had one.
Yes.
So he brings me one as a gift.
Yes.
The morning of the radio program where you're to be interviewed by Michael Baldwin.
Can I say it my way or not? All right, you take that.
The LSD was actually another trip. This is the trip where... Now, Diana... Diana set it all up.
You've got it wrong.
Diana set it all up. Clay Feet was there. Clay Feet met us because Diana found...
I'm talking about.
Yeah, Clay Feet met us. We went to have Chinese meal at the bowling club there in Nimbin. Diana goes outside for a cigarette. Who's out there? She meets Clay Feet and she said, Yahweh is inside. He comes straight in. He was locked up by his family years before because we'd talk about Yahweh. He hadn't even met him. He hadn't even met the real deal.
But he got locked up for years after years and on these drugs, and it drove him mad.
That's right. It was the psychotic drugs.
So he was all right to start with, but when he said he believed in Yahweh against the Christian beliefs of his parents, they locked him up.
Yes.
They didn't even know what bloody Yahweh was.
He ended up a mental case because of the psychotic pharmaceutical drugs. However, this day, Diana had set it up. Michael Balderston, the mayor of Nimbin, is going to interview Yah because Diana had evangelised the entire town. They all knew it, and I'm sure ran a mile anytime they saw Diana because she would be in everybody's ear telling them that Yah was back.
She's like a dog with a
she is absolutely bloody unreal.
And her daughter, she's also a royal family, a daughter of the...
Hungary. Yes, her father was of the...
Straight direct line.
Anyway, so this day we've stayed overnight at Diana's place. So yes, Clay Feet comes around and he's just all over Yahweh, and he starts kissing Yahweh's feet, at which point Yahweh nearly sent him flying through the wall and told him to F off. Like he hates it. And anyway, that's where you learn that God hates the worship of the kissing feet kind and all the rest of it, because... For all of your worship and kissing his feet and all the rest of it, do you do anything that he asks? No. But that's another story. So, Clay brings me, a hash cookie, because I've never had one before. So I have the smallest bit of hash cookie. This is before the interview. Yah has some as well, just a little bit, maybe a quarter of the cookie between the two of us. So I eat some, and then I can feel the effects of it beginning to settle in.
Well, I think it was got a bit of drop of LSD on it.
That was later. That was another time. It was another time.
His LSD.
That was another time.
Maybe it was.
It was. This was strictly the hash at this time. Because he had bought it from the local place that makes it.
With LSD on it?
The LSD was, and that had a drastic reaction. But anyway, so bottom line is we have to leave the radio station. And I know that I cannot speak a word. I cannot even open my mouth, which is okay. I had read the program of who was on during this time.
It wasn't okay at all.
It was fine. I knew I couldn't speak. I knew I couldn't speak.
On.
Yeah, Now, in my mind, I'm telling you how I was thinking
but
at the
bullshit.
time.
I know how you. I know you.
It wasn't bullshit at all. My mind had slowed down. I'm thinking I cannot
my
speak.
way in a minute.
All right, well, you let me finish my way, okay? I can't speak. But I had looked at the program knowing that this guy that was on at the same time that all Nimbin tunes in to listen to calls himself Goddess. He channels Goddess, whoever the Goddess is. But Yah doesn't know this. We go to the radio program. I cannot speak. I'm just sitting in the studio listening to what Yah is saying. Michael is engaging Yah, and he begins talking of all of the things that he does, much like he did yesterday on. But this Goddess is coming in with some digs.
He's channeling the Queen.
Channeling the Goddess. Goddess,
yeah, he's
right?
The Queen, that's right.
He's the Queen channeling Goddess. So Goddess is saying things about, oh Yah, you cranky old man, you haven't changed and all the rest of it, blah, blah, blah. But Yah doesn't know what he's saying. He's not really hearing what he's saying, and he certainly doesn't know that he's channeling this Goddess. But I do, but I can't say anything, which is just as well. Because in my mind, I was ready to tear out Goddess's throat like this and go, whack, whack. This is in my mind, but I cannot speak. So all I could do is sit there and listen to this idiot as Yah, it goes straight over his head, hasn't a clue, just as well, because that's his innocence and purity, if you like. Well, that's a little bit like it was yesterday. As Donnie says, I read that the Anunnaki could be the 12 apostles, and he's waiting for Yah's response. Yah hears Anunnaki and says, oh, well, you know, like I forget what you actually said, but brush them aside, like bullshit, you know, and continues. And it was only till this morning that I said that that's what Donnie was saying. You can listen to the program, that he'd read that the apostles were actually the Anunnaki, at which point Yah just, like, already knowing there's a screw loose here going on, and that was just, oh, you've got to be kidding. You've got to be kidding. What hope is there?
Exactly.
What hope is there for...
Okay, let's go back to my story now.
All right, go on.
You're munching on this cookie, and
yeah, go.
We go to the station, we meet the mayor of Nimbin outside. He was on
Michael
the radio
Balderstone.
station. Michael, nice fellow.
Who was trying to talk with you and have a sensible conversation. Well,
we did.
Yeah, you did. As Goddess.
And afterwards.
Yeah.
Not with
That's
Goddess.
right. Yeah.
Right. So we go inside into the radio station. There's like the guy sitting at the desk with a microphone and so forth. And I get introduced, and Mike's talking, asking a few questions. There's another guy there. I thought he was part of the radio station. Right? This guy turns out to be Goddess. And I never took no notice of what he was talking about.
No.
Because Michael was making some intelligent
Yes,
questions.
he was.
And I was
Michael
talking
was.
back and forwards and talking about the cure for the H1N1 we took up to Central Australia, because at Yurandumu, the Aboriginal reserve we went to, was reported a person there had actually died. And when we got there, the lady that had run the store there for 30 years, she's gone.
Brenda.
And ASIO, CIA for you Americans, had taken over and set their agents up for us to be...
Always the fat-gutted, crew-cut
Always
dude.
saying that. They make them in some sort of cloning factory.
They do.
The women are all the same. They're big, ugly, fat, double-chinned, right, and about 50 years of age. And about 250 pounds.
They advertise, don't they, for positions with... and you've got to be very normal-looking. If you're stand out at all...
Australia, that's going to be normal, isn't it? So anyhow, we're sitting there, and Mike's asking a question. I'm going on and talking about things like
at that time it was
on
about
Donnie's show.
Yeah, what was at that time though? It was about the fracking and the moons and things, and what they were trying to do by aiming to blow up.
Well, let's get into fracking a little bit, because it was familiar in Australia. Australia was tremendously full of resources. The natural gas that's under Australia, and I was saying the other day that out at Kiripiti, was it?
Kupapiti.
We went to, And that's where all these people do the opal minings. They live underground. They dig underground because it's nice and cool. And they have discovered in the area, with all this drilling and buggerising about they do, the largest oil reserve in the world. It has more oil there than the entire world supply put together. That's how much oil's under Australia. That's how wealthy Australia is, right? Like, hello, the Jews are quite interested in that sort of thing. So they sealed it up, not going to talk about it, like they've done with the West Slope in Alaska. Right? They did the same thing there. There's so much oil, they cleared it up. They just don't even touch it. Athabasca tar sands, which I've been to, is 1,200 miles long, 300 miles wide, 300 feet deep, of tar sands. It's the most easily got at oil in the world. And they use the Athabasca Lake to take the water. They boil with the oil that they get. They put on a furnace. They put the oil and sand into it with water. The oil floats to the top of the water. The sand is totally purified. They put that back where they got it, and the land is getting improved while they're getting the oil out.
Right.
Right? And because the water evaporates, goes back in the atmosphere. So anyhow, this is the kind of thing I was talking about. So, intelligent stuff, you know, like the things I like to talk about. And this guy keeps on, and I'm wondering why you're not saying nothing.
Yes.
I thought it was very unusual because,
It was.
like, I'm going into a twilight zone. When you're not talking, I thought I've ascended. Something's gone wrong here, right?
The silence in heaven.
I've actually gone to heaven where you are dumb. Write that down.
Well, that's a little bit like it was yesterday.
When it was my birthday, you can do that for me all day. Right? So anyhow, this clown keeps on making, and it wasn't a bad looking fella, is he?
No, it turns out to be
the school teacher, and the school teacher is very embarrassed by it.
Oh yes, yes. Well, he is an embarrassment.
This guy's a queen. Was he homosexual?
Goddess, babe, goddess.
Oh, the guy himself, he's the queen.
No, he is goddess. He doesn't call himself the queen.
Goddess.
He is goddess. He channels goddess. He is goddess.
I thought he was a queen.
No. Well, who knows what it is? But it's a bloke.
Back. You said queen before.
No. You kept saying queen, and I said yes, but no. He calls himself goddess. Goddess. Diana can verify.
So we got a real lunatic, eh?
Yeah, goddess.
All right. So that's the story. So getting over to Donnie Gilson. He's a fellow that, as I said, he's a 32-degree Mason. He's a very nice fellow. And he was in Reno for a while. And his girlfriend at the time, living with her, I think, and her mother, Catholics, by the way. And she had made some snicker in the background while you was talking about how to cure people of various diseases.
Yeah, she was
not told her to
scoffing.
shut up.
For everybody to hear.
Next thing, she wants you to apologise, right?
Well, that was the next show.
Yeah. But
She called
we
me-
wanted to be
she-
invited back.
No, we were not.
Nothing to do with that.
But Donnie
And we get invited
Brave.
back. But on the show, there's Donnie and her. They're having a Donnie book, right?
Yes.
All
Oh, it was
very
marvellous.
humorous. But as it turns out, he took my advice and gave her the flick because she was a complete unbeliever.
Yeah, well, we told her she was a demon. And that show, the last show that he had us on, we were doing the stars over where he was, and it said prison. So I'm like Ya's talking to Donnie, and I'm through the Skype messaging him saying the stars overhead where you are talk of a prison. Well, he was just blown away because that's what he felt like he was in, a prison, and Vicky was the jailer. So bottom line is it didn't last too much longer after that, and he escaped his prison to go to California.
Now she's going out with a guy that, according to Donnie yesterday, she's going up with the guy, what is it, a Baphomet?
Baphomet. There's no L in Baphomet, babe. Baphomet
I'm
T-shirt.
not really familiar with
I
this
know,
satanic
you know,
crap, right?
I know. Just for the...
It's some man's inventions. I don't even look at it.
I know. On that subject, because we've got a follower that calls himself Random Dude who made that video yesterday.
Oh,
that
I
we
love
saw.
the video. Yeah.
Random Dude, well done on that. But I saw a few days ago you did ask us to explain all the satanic symbols and things. And then, however, we don't know them. We don't have a clue. It's others like everybody else that you've done your research and you know what it all means. We don't pay any heed or attention to it. Doesn't matter. We don't care.
It's like the most obvious thing, which really is a surprise, I suppose, to most people. I haven't read the Bible.
Yes.
I haven't read the Quran or any other piece of crap.
Yeah.
What would I do? Why would I read that shit? The only reason I will briefly go into and analyse it and show you the codes and show you how the likes of King James and William Shakespeare, who was Edward de Vere, had the spiritual guidance to fill it out in such a way and make little alterations to the handwritten manuscript. That's what manuscript means, handwritten, before it eventually went to press. So the homosexual Francis Bacon, sorry Mr. Watson about that, he was homosexual, and he was also the numbers expert at that time, because a lot of gematria and so forth was used in those days to pass around codes in the Freemasonry world. They had codes because they used their Bible for a code, right? So the Bibles I was using, of course, they wanted to get the Freemason Bible, the King James Bible, and this is what it was all about, by having it translated by all these scholars out of Cambridge and Oxford. Now, the point being that in order to enter a university at that time, now this gives you some idea. Can you imagine you're America or England or whatever now today, and you want to go to university, and they want you to speak Afghan. You say, what the hell would you want us to speak Afghan? But you had to be fluent in Afghan, read and write it, know all the numbers before you got to university. Well, in England, it was Greek.
Yes.
Well, Greek is as far away from English as you can get. But you had to learn and speak and be fluent in Greek before you was considered going to university. That
Yes.
was a certainty. Now, in the Arab world, you have to be able to recite the fucking Quran before you get into university. Like, if you're not already brainwashed from birth, and then you've got to be able to recite this crap to get into university, what kind of idiot are you to even go along with it and to get into university? What are they going to teach you in there? It's all Quran based, which is all Jewish. Hello, wake up, you stupid Muslims. I read 2 pages of the Quran, and I recommended at the time to wipe your ass on it. Right? I said, drill a hole in it, hang it in the dunny, and save some money on toilet paper. And I did say to the Muslims that were listening, which this is the days before you come on, wipe your ass on it.
Yes, I do remember. And you said to do the same with the
And I
the
said, do
Bible.
the same with Bibles. Well, how many different Bibles you got? There's
Hundreds.
hundreds.
Of
Now,
different translations.
okay, what they do with the Bible, they take the original, which in this case the King James, if it's English. And,
1611,
you can't
not
change,
later.
You can't write another Bible unless you change it substantially because of copyright.
Copyright,
laws.
yes.
Who set up the copyright laws to make the laws
The
so
Jews.
what you do when you change a Bible, you got to have it different than the original? What have I done?
I just realised why I can't find my reading glasses, my real ones,
Why?
because you are wearing them.
You finally noticed. We played 8 games of bloody billiards.
Yes.
Yeah, take it.
Well, you wear these, babe. I'm sure I left them out by the pool table.
Kundalini then.
No, I'm just there's my glasses.
Where does the word Kundalini? Does that come from some Italian, is it?
I don't know, somebody else out there can tell us where it comes from. What is its origins?
I was on a roll then.
Yeah, you were.
I wasn't talking about.
Well, the Jews and the Bible. And
they set up, so you can't change the Bible. You've got to change the Bible substantially
Yes,
to get a copyright.
yes,
So then you've got 2 Bibles.
yeah.
The next Bible who comes along and wants to translate theirs, they've got to be different from the first and the second. Substantially.
Yeah.
And on it goes.
Well, we could have a bit of a go here and pull up some, say, 3 different versions and read the same verse out of each one. What you keep talking while I do
Try
that.
Ezekiel, the one with it. Oh, I was going to say,
Yeah.
I don't really like to bring your attention to it, but I have looked at a few things, like Ezekiel, for example. The only reason I even looked at Ezekiel is because the word Ezekiel in the Hebrew concordance, now if you're out there and you don't know what a concordance is, it's a dictionary. So what? Well, the dictionary was made up in the 1830s by an American with 100 scholars, and they put together a means for translating each word. So when you read something, you've got to say it's the word of God, then the word of God might have a particular word in it. So you have a dictionary and it's numbered, each word is numbered, especially there's a thing called the Green Bible. I had one once and someone stole it. And each word had the concordance number on it. It was very handy. and then would give you, at the back of it, another concordance dictionary you could look at. So let's say you look up the word John, or Lord, or Grace, or anything. And it's got a number on it. It's alphabetically arranged. Greek and Hebrew. Now there's 8674 words in the Old Testament. This is what I was trying to get across to Donnie yesterday, and because a lot of people, I think when they interview you, or even when I talk to people, they aren't actually listening to what I say. They are thinking of another word. Maybe he's got a script, but he's got something else he wants to ask me about and to talk about that.
Yes.
But doesn't listen to the answer.
Doesn't listen to the answer. You're right.
Right?
Yes.
And I said, there's 8674 words in the Hebrew and 5624 words in the New Testament. Now, the point being, which I didn't have a chance to make yesterday, was there's 8674 words in Hebrew, and yet the Greek is drawing upon, oftentimes, Hebrew names and numbers and so forth, and letters and words and whatever. Yet there's only 5624 words explaining the Hebrew part, where it should be at least 5 or 6 times as many words in the Greek to explain the 8674 words of Hebrew. Because you might say a name like Joachim, for example, and it means stubborn or means something else, and it has a list of things, and I might get 3 or 4 different categories to find out what the root origin of that word is. Right? So pick a word and like Zedekiah, for example, is numbered 6667. That's a good number. And why? Because there's 6666 times the word Lord is found, verse total of the King James 1611. You don't get a concordance of any of these other Bibles. Now this is the interesting thing. Why? Because they don't want you to know what these words break down to. Because the King James Bible turned out to be a very dangerous thing, because it was adopted by the Freemasons, because it's a Freemason Bible, and unfortunately for them, it was too late. Once it was adopted, and they're using it in all those Freemason churches, because it actually says in the original King James Bible, Freemason version, to be taught in all the churches. The official Bible for all the churches. So what happens? You end up with 36,000 different denominations, and we've got the Jehovah's Witnesses, for example. What do? They change all the words themselves. So they say they're using the King James Bible. Well, they're not. They change every Lord to Jehovah. Well, not every Lord's Jehovah at all. You could be talking about Baal. Right? Etc. So anyhow, that's how stupid the Jehovah's Witnesses are. As a matter of fact, they suffer a lot from Alzheimer's because they get this aluminium door slammed in their face all the time. I guess it's sort of the dust gets in their lungs. Aluminium is aluminum in America, if you don't know. So we have the aluminum door slammed in their face so many times a day, they get a... you're not listening, are you? I thought that was quite
The funny. Aluminum slammed in the...
It gives them Alzheimer's. I invite them in, and they never come back. I invite the Mormons in, and they never come back. Right? As I launch, right? Now, I've noticed when you talk to people, and Donnie has the same problem, they don't get what you're talking about. They don't see the significance of a man that has been doing this from birth, and I'm still alive and I'm 70 years old. That I've served the Queen on 3 different occasions. I've had her in court twice, and then we've actually served the legal documents where she's acquiescent. Now, Donnie's not listening to this.
No.
The Queen is acquiescent.
Yes.
That means she is subservient to me. She's admitted that I am the Christ.
Yes.
Don't you get that, Donnie?
No.
You didn't.
No.
Right? The Pope, 86.74 years old on my 70th birthday.
Yes. What
Jeff Kaduri says in his letter that Jesus Christ was the Messiah, the Mashiach. Hebrew. The Jews don't get it. And then, as a matter of fact, there's 200 scholars, rabbis, in Israel. They were mortally horrified by the fact that this leading rabbi died of under 8 years old, which is the word ghost, 108 times in the Bible. They were mortified by the fact that he said, Yeshua, hello,
Yeshua is the Jewish Messiah.
Is the Jewish Messiah.
Yeah. And then he would be communicating using modern media. technology.
That the Messiah
to them in Israel.
Not coming to Israel.
Not coming to Israel, which is what you've always said.
I said I wouldn't go to this shithole if you gave it to me.
Yes.
Right? It's like going back to the gallows you just got hung on. Right?
Or
it's all full of bloody Jews, which I can't stand. Because
it's like JFK reliving the grassy knoll. Like JFK reliving the grassy knoll, the drive through the grassy knoll.
Oh, let's go and sit on the grassy knoll and have a cup of tea, JFK.
Now,
people wearing crosses don't really impress me. I hung on the bastard, right?
Talking about synchronicity, I was looking up different Bible translations, and of course there's hundreds of them, and I thought, I'll just choose John 3:16, which is, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever should believe in him should not perish. So then I was thinking about Donnie, who kept saying over and over, you know me, I just sit on the fence, and I'm not saying whether I believe or whether I don't believe. This is what Donnie announces to his audience and to us. He presents Yah and then wants the audience to make up. But all I could think of was
your testicles.
Yeah, lukewarm. The word lukewarm, which is found once. It's the verse in Revelation 3:16
right.
that I have just pulled up now. And it reads like this. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. So Donnie's saying, you know me, I just sit on the fence, I'm neither here nor there. You know, in other words, he is lukewarm, tepid. He's certainly not hot, but he's not cold. But he's going to sit on the fence. For anybody out there who's sitting on the fence and is lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, then you're already spewed out of the mouth of the Christ who's returned. It's like this has already happened in the realm of no time. We're just playing it out now. So is there salvation in Donnie's position? Certainly not. Donnie, if you're listening, Adam had a dream about you and you fell in a river with all the other logs floating down the river and you couldn't make it back to our house.
The river flows quite swiftly.
Very swiftly, especially.
Very, very crushing.
The broad road to destruction. How about a broad river filled with dead heads? That's what you're floating in right now, Donnie, and anybody else out there who might be listening. And
so there was a comment on Donnie's show from one of our people.
Yes.
Sherry.
Yep.
Lovely, lovely lady. And he did mention that she is one of the first to come up with the recognition.
Yes.
She was Marilyn Monroe in a past life. Well, she was.
So she's lived her life trying to escape it, really. And the book that was written by her doctor. And
I did the same thing. I tried to escape.
Yeah.
Who would want to be me? Let's face it.
Yes, right. Yeah, well, Sherry's the same about Marilyn. So that's why when she left a comment on our channel, I went straight to her and said, if anybody understands about reincarnation, then she should. And she did, of course. That's what it's all about, the reincarnation. And it has so been removed from the psyche of all the West. This morning I was reading comments, again, from April this year, when some satire site puts out that, the Vatican announces that Jesus is not coming back again. It was a satire. However, I went in there saying, too late, he's already here, blah, 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 with a message to the apostolic letter, and that they are hiding the fact that he is here. Well, that, of course, gets all these responses from the world of the dead and the deluded. And what I did at the time, as I was going through all of the comments that had already been left, I chose certain ones and I cut and pasted the same message because there were hundreds of them. So this morning I noticed that somebody actually liked that comment that I left back in April. So I went back to the site and then I see that because I had repeated the same message through the hundreds of comments, that somebody was being a smart ass, saying, you've only got one message and that's it. Well, to me it was the message all about the name, the apostolic letter, blah, blah, blah. So I responded to this idiot with the rather lengthy discourse that I wrote on the 21st of September that I uploaded to Yah's Facebook page and mine, which is all about the Shroud of Turin and the blatantly obvious for the pure in heart. And I said, let this be a warning. So I ended it. So I went back in and posted that particular one and explained to the idiot who was going on about my one message. I said, yes, it's a matter of convenience. It's all about the message getting out there. However, for you and all the other deluded like you, cop this. Read this message all the way through. Hello. Anyway, the point is that everybody knows better than God himself and how it is. The one thing about Ray Rabin, the Frenchman, who is a friend, a scientist.
A member of the French Foreign Legion.
He was a member of the French Foreign Legion. Oh, yes. Actually, that must have weighed heavily on him, because it was that afternoon, November the 7th, at Harcourt, when we were all gathered, that he talked to us. And his experience in the French Foreign Legion was that the captains there, after they had caught the enemy, and where were they? What country were
Algiers.
they in? They were in Algiers, right. They'd caught the enemy, and they actually had them hanging, didn't they? No, not by the neck, but...
They had them,
oh, that's right.
There was a long bar in this building.
Yes.
Right? Maybe a hot water bar or water bar, something like that, but thick pipe. And they had them, the hands over it, and their hands tied. There was all these men hanging. Right? Yes. And they've been hanging there for a while.
Yeah.
And they were naked.
Yes.
And the captains got the men, brought them there in a truck, and Ray was one of them. And there were 3 or 4 or 5 captains, like top-ranking people. And the order was to castrate them all.
And then to shoot them, wasn't it? Castrate and then shoot them?
Yes, castrate them all and then kill them.
Kill them.
So Ray took his machine gun and turned it on the captain and shot them all.
Yes, he shot the ones giving the order. And
so that left him in a really tenuous position, because they used a guillotine in France, right?
Yes.
So him and his buddies, they all joined in, because they weren't going to do it anyhow. So he was the first to operate. This is what he told us just after that Redded Dominique Galut.
Yes.
Right? She'd come out, and we're sitting there with a lot of people that actually believed, right? These are scientists, right? And well-educated men.
Yeah.
And there was about 8 or 9 of them, right? And she come to the door, opened the door of the room, looked out, and what did she say?
She says, I don't believe that Brian is the Christ. And then walks back inside. But the point is that Ray and his team, it was 2 others, 3 of them. It was New Year's Day at the beginning of the year. We're now at the end of the year in November, so it was the beginning of 2009. They had already been with you for hours on end. Ray went away and did his research, came back to you as a scientist. He made it so clear to us that he accepts nobody's word about anything. He overturns every stone. So that's what he did. He overturned every stone concerning all that Yah had explained to them. He came back and he said, I had to conclude that you are who you say you are, because I leave no stone unturned. But he went one step further and he said, if I were God, how in this age, with all the knowledge, how would I go about proving myself to this age that has all the answers? They think themselves so smart. And he came to the conclusion that it was exactly the way that Yah had shown them and explained to them, this is how I do it. He measures his temple. So it was already settled in Ray's mind, and he's a character, a real character. I mean, nothing.
Like he goes to court.
Oh, yes.
And the court says to him, the clerk, put your hand and swear on the Bible.
Swear on the Bible.
He put his hand and swore on the Bible and said, fuck the Bible.
He actually held it up. He says, fuck the Bible.
And what are you doing? He said, I'm swearing on the Bible.
You told me to swear on the Bible, he says in his French accent. So fuck the Bible, fuck the Bible. Well, they couldn't shut him up. Of course, he always wins everything he goes into.
Well, he's such a brilliant mind, right?
He is.
Now, he's come up with how he met me was through the magnetic motor.
Yes, the inventors.
And he's one of the head boys at the Inventors Association in Melbourne. There are a lot of smart people down there.
Yes.
Right? So this is how he and I got together.
Yes. Yeah. He's a funny guy.
Oh.
So we've had a few occasions.
And multi-millionaire from his inventions.
Yeah. He came out to see us while we were in Sedgwick. And that's... yes, he and the secretary came out because they had to go to Bendigo, remember, for that meeting. Yeah. That was after we got back from Fiji. So it was January 2010. Packed up the house and left to go back to Fiji that time. And now we've gone full circle because it was All Nations Christian Fellowship was the name of the church on the base, the soldiers' base in Nadi, Fiji, where we were invited. The pastor was told that Christ is back by James, first of all, and Lami, who both attended the church, and they spent hours with us. The Saturday night, they went and told the pastors we were invited up the next day to come and speak at the church. So we did, and we opened our cottage for the week at midday for people to come and hear what it is. We didn't tell them from the pulpit that the Christ is back. They had that information from Lami, but we said we will teach you and your pastors, and then they can tell you the news. So we were giving them the open door to come and learn the truth and really be the first church on the planet that would break the news to the world that the Christ is back after they had studied for the week, etc. So the pastors didn't turn up, but a few of the congregation did each day throughout the week. And so we told them then what's going on about the cures for all diseases, etc., and we treated them. But then we talked about the Christ being returned. This is what it's all about. His name is Yahweh. And, of course, these people are so burdened by tithing. That's the biggest thing, is tithing to support the church. Well, we had learned that Frank Bainimarama had frozen the accounts of the collective ministers, the community throughout Fiji. Total, there was about $20 million sitting in all of these accounts that he had frozen while their investigation's happening. Now, we had been told by Joseph, who had how many times in Iraq? 10 or 8?
8 times.
8 turns in Iraq.
1 year at a time.
1 year at a time, being paid $10 a day to front up your life in Iraq. 10 Fijian dollars, so $5 Australian at the time. He came back to find that his wife had sold the furniture from their house, the refrigerator, and they don't have a lot of furniture anyway, they mostly sit on the floors. But she had sold the refrigerator to give the money to the local preacher who was building another church. Hello?
Well, he had 7 houses or something.
Oh, yes. So we were telling the ones that are burdened with this, because it's like a tax. It's taken directly out of their bank accounts, which is what Seti told us, the Methodist church that he was going to. It's all set up and you can't escape it. They take it straight out of your account, anything that goes in there. Seti was a taxi driver. So we told them, no, you don't tithe. Tithing is Babylonian. It's all about commerce. You look after your family first. Feed your family. Love and care for them. Educate them. And if you have anything left over, then share it with your neighbours around you if they're in need. So my goodness gracious me, I mean, Seti, that just freed him completely. He didn't go back to church after that. No. Wonka didn't either. It wasn't until we were invited to go to the Methodist church, this is now weeks later after we had cured everybody in their congregation, they just came to the door. However, the All Nations Christian Fellowship, which is all throughout Africa, these were the ones who we spoke, we invited, we had a few come, and once they heard that we're teaching about not tithing, we were blackballed. The senior pastor went to Lami's house. Lami began, we cured him of his affliction from a boiler accident that happened, 6 or 7 years before. He should have been dead. The fellow he was working with did die, but Lami was split from the top of his head right down his spine. It was opened, and he'd spent 6 years trying to recover from the trauma. So we treated him with everything that we do, and he started to feel stronger than he had. So he began doing what all saints do. He began walking from village to village with the equipment we had taken, the silver water made up, and he began treating those that were sick at the village level. So the senior pastor goes to Lami and says, stay away from those people. Well, Lami says, no, nobody keeps me away from my Lord. And his mother had had dreams about Lami himself before. Lami himself had had dreams. And he believed with all of his heart because we were able to cure him and of his affliction. So Lami was a true saint. James, on the other hand, which was the one that told Lami, James found me down at the local supermarket. I went down this Saturday afternoon and I bought a couple of pots and I had them in a bag, and he gets spoken to by his angel. His angel tells him, that woman over there is your mother, go to her. So he comes to me and says, can I help you? And I said, well, I need to get a taxi back to where we are. And I thought he would just go with me to instruct the taxi driver, but he gets into the taxi with me. And I'm thinking, oh well, as I always do, there's one way to have them flee. They're either going to be open what I tell them or they're going to flee. Doesn't matter to me. So I just started to tell James in the back of the taxi cab, you know, the Christ is back on the earth, blah, blah, blah. Well, he just, what? Where? Like, what? I said, well, he's in Fiji. Bottom line is, James came in with me to 12A Sky Lodge. Nundy was our address, the cottage we rented there. And he met his Lord that afternoon and stayed for hours trying to understand. He understood enough for him to go back to the church. He found Lami there, and Lami wasn't always going to that church because Lami actually was visiting from his island. But he told Lami and brought Lami down late that Saturday night, and then Lami became the one who was to be informed. Actually, that afternoon when we first met James, his electricity was cut off, wasn't it? This is how... Oh, James. Now, this is... We didn't, but this is... Okay, James is supporting his mother, father, his wife and daughter. His wife was actually away at her village, some distance away. His mother, he told us, had diabetes type 2, had not arisen from her bed for 12 months. All she could manage was 1 hour through the day, but she was unable to care for the family for 12 months. Diabetes type 2, no energy. But he also told us that the electricity company had cut off the electricity back at the home because he hadn't been able to pay the bill, which was something like 56 kina, I think it was.
So he's working 12 hours a day.
12 hours a day, this is the point. This is the point. Working for an Australian company.
That's right.
They got avocados and growing foods to be packed to sell throughout the world. An Australian-owned company for something like 10 Fijian dollars per day, 12 hours a day, some pathetic. And he didn't have his money so we gave him the money. He walked all the way to the electric company. And he was able to pay them, came back to us. And then it was James that we told him about the calcium hypochlorite, the MMS. And we did not know at that point if it would do anything for diabetes type 2, because diabetes type 2 is the... No, it was only after this when we saw the results with his mother. She was the first. We said, okay, well, let's see what this will do because it will clean up anything that's in the bloodstream, blah, 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 blah. He took it home. We gave her 14 pills. The instructions were take one tonight before you go to bed. If she throws it up, take another one. It's okay. It's killing toxins your body is expelling. He does that. He comes back the very next day. She took a pill when she got home. She did throw up. She took another pill. She woke up the very next morning at 6 a.m., She got out of bed and she resumed her life full of smiles and strength. She had the energy from that day on to go about her business. It was after that that we realised, okay, there's something going on about here that we were not aware of, that the calcium hypochlorite was doing. So in our investigation, I came across a comment by a doctor who said, well, what do you expect regarding diabetes type 2? And it was tied in with the polyunsaturated vegetable oils. He left a comment. He said, what would you expect when your cells have become like a DuPont film? How low plastic coating over the cell receptors because of the polyunsaturated vegetable oils. So we understood then, she was number one, that what was happening, the calcium hypochlorite had to be dissolving the nano thin microfilm over the cell receptors. It was dissolving the crud, cleaning off the cell receptors so that the insulin could now dock, send the message to the cell to open and the sugar be absorbed into the cell, sugar restoration. So she was number one, and then thereafter, that was the greatest complaint.
She's a lovely woman too.
Oh, it was 5 weeks
Attractive
later.
woman.
Oh, a beautiful 5 weeks later, after she's resumed her life. It was only then, and it was because of Pastor Penny, who had the stroke, and he was bedridden for 3 years. Then he's walking. You and Lami take him to the ocean to swim again. The calcium hypochlorite, the silver, the flash, treating him. Pastor Penny was invited back to the same church who had evicted us and warned all of their clients, that's what it's about, customers, to stay away from us. Well, Pastor Penny is restored from 3 years lying down, stroke. He stank. His family had to look after him, but he stank because he's literally lying in his pee, isn't he? So the poor man, a pastor of the church, ignored by the church, nobody can help him. The government, there's no pension for them to survive on. He goes back after he is now walking and his speech returned, and he gives a testimony behind the very pulpit that we were evicted from. It's all on the YouTube. We'll have to replay those. They're the days. These are the days that I look back in fond memory of, when we are curing people of their diseases where the world has abandoned them, especially their governments and their churches. So, but it was after Pastor Penny that you interview James's mother. So it's 5 weeks later, and we've got it on video. And you're all sitting on the floor. She comes out, and what a very attractive woman. Vibrant, full of intelligence and life.
Well, Lammy's a very handsome lad too.
Yes,
right?
yes, they all are. And James was really handsome too. But James, more of a meek character, he did start to avoid us because of what the pastor said. Yet we had cured his mother. And we gave that first day, we not only paid his electricity bill, but we gave him money. And I said, go and buy a big tray of eggs and tell your mother to stop eating rice first thing in the morning, but to be eating eggs with butter, real butter. You know, not the polyunsaturated oils. Flora, heart healthy. Hello, this is causing their diabetes type 2. So she did that. He bought that for her, took it home, and that became her breakfast from then on. So she is just one of the hundreds that we treated. And what about Flora? Oh my God, Flora, talking about heart healthy. Flora, the wife.
This is another church.
This is the Methodist who received us.
When we first arrived there, we were talking to the custom agent, who was John.
Yeah, he was the immigration's in charge of immigration.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then it was George, wasn't it?
George was there as the security officer, just came in to talk to John and overheard what we were saying.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
And he overheard the conversation, because we're sort of trying to do things the right way around.
And be there on a proper visa and to stay and be able to work, etc.
But of course the Jews are against you, this is the point.
Yeah.
And they control everything. Like, do not underestimate what they are into. They are into everything. Even the air you breathe has been poisoned by the chemtrails. The water you drink has been poisoned by the fluoride, by the various chemicals that put in it. Even the bread you eat. Now, what you should avoid in particular is soy.
Which is in everything.
It's in everything. It's in chocolate.
Soy and the polyunsaturated oils.
It doesn't have to be in chocolate.
No.
They put it in.
Yeah, it is.
And what that causes is little girls to become males and little boys to suffer growing up to be a man with a micro penis, so they can't have babies.
They use it as a soy emulsifier, but I'll tell you what, because you've all now become familiar the information that we've released about borax. Borax is an emulsifier. I use it in my face creams.
That in food. What's wrong with you? Make everybody healthy.
So I've been using borax as an emulsifier, which means to mix oil and water, in my face creams. It just takes the smallest amount, the tiniest, so they could easily use borax, which is a naturally mined mineral and is what your body needs as boron.
You need minerals. It's all to do with minerals.
It's all to do with, so they don't need to use soy in anything. All right, all good. So yes, what
so
were you?
It's a cash crop, and there's millions upon millions of acres in America,
yes.
Australia, everywhere else.
Yeah, and in GMO. I mean, first of all, the soy should never be eaten.
Okay.
GMO or not.
If we were to put together a sort of a list of things you would have in health.
Soy would be the first. You've only got to look at how ugly the bean is.
All you've got to do is go through, first off, who would be in charge of health?
The Jews.
You'd have to put some satanic people in charge of
Death
it
cult.
that are appearing to be the chosen people. You've got to have something like that. And then they've got to suck you in because they own all the churches.
Yes.
Right?
They
And they own all
influence the
newspapers.
preaching, yes.
How do they do all that? How do they actually accomplish it? By making money through the Federal Reserve in America, and then your birth certificate, you are then declared dead as a baby and your birth certificate is sold. Presently, or when I say presently, about 7 years ago, it was $7 million per birth certificate, 6.9 million.
Yeah, well, it was Pamela who told us that in 2010
Yes.
because she was going to the seminars and things.
That's right.
So she said it was $6.9 million then.
Maybe you can download it, I don't know. It's called The Straw Man Burneth. Put it into your search engine. It comes up at lulu.com. You go to lulu.com, you can buy a book there, or you can download it for free. Now there's several other books there. One book is over $600. I didn't set the prices for these
No,
things.
these things are ridiculous.
So the one they don't want you to get, they put the price up so that you never buy it.
No, of course not. Especially with all the pages upside down, the paragraphs repeated,
Well, that's the
all
whole point.
the
That's
spellings
how
and the
it is.
typos. Yeah.
That's
This
how
is
it
how
is.
you know God has written it. And
If it's perfect,
I've written
every
it.
word is spelled correctly, and if a drawing's in there, it's the wrong way up, then you know I've done it.
yes.
If it's perfect, I didn't do it.
Somebody
I did
edited
on
it.
purpose, right?
Somebody edited it.
But even you are actually convinced I do it by mistake.
Yeah, well,
You keep on saying that. And I mean, I was doing these books for a long time.
I know.
All right?
Yeah.
Now, look at the ones I did for the Aboriginals. They were perfect. It didn't work. I didn't even get one reply. I printed hundreds of them, made my own covers up, bought how many different printers? 7 different printers.
7, none of them worked.
None of them worked. So this is angelic. It's only giving us shits, right? And finally, through Grant, he came up with this lulu.com where it's owned by the Jews again. Right? So I think I paid for to be distributed through get the number here,
Well, no, I'll clarify.
900, don't correct me, 900,000.
15 books times 60,000. That's how it works out. It's 15 books times 60,000.
I paid to be distributed through 900,000 bookstores. And not one got distributed through. It came on Amazon.com, and when you click on it, it says temporarily
unavailable.
unavailable. This thing is printed. You just go in there, you say, I want that book, and it already goes out to where you live in, say, Melbourne or New York or wherever. It goes to
The
the
local
local
printer.
and they print it.
That's right.
Right?
Mm.
That's the deal.
Mm.
So there's never any delay, and then it's delivered 2 days later.
Right.
Now, I know I sold one book because I bought it.
No, and there's been about, like, all these years,
About 2 a year.
well, not even 2 a year, I was going to say, like, 5 total in, 5 years or something.
Yeah. Well, it's
But
pretty
there's been the very odd occasion when we've gone into the PayPal and there's been a balance of $9 or something and go, oh, where did that
well,
come
book
from?
sold for $20. but you might not-
Yeah, it's the dividend from one book sale. Anyway, the point is we're running out of time. This is it. Well, this is delightful, isn't it?
So
Going
this
right.
is now talking to Donnie Gilson on the fence. He's into the Anunnaki and all this kind of rubbish. He's a lot of description in his particular radio program of how good the Knights Templars are and the Freemasons. What wonderful.
Bullshit.
He doesn't realise it's a Jewish organisation.
No,
It's just one more rabbit hole.
Totally.
Snare you
I
with
read
a
all
business
about
trap.
the Knights Templar yesterday from the Catholic
Oh,
Encyclopedia,
dear,
and none of it is good. From the beginning, secret oaths, the whole same old BS. Plus, they
Well,
are...
I've got an oath, which you'll all, to join me, you'll have to swear this oath. I'm going to allow you to swear it out, because people like to swear oaths. And that is, open your wallet and help yourself.
There we go.
And I take PayPal. So I'm going to do that. And
All right, we're out of here. I'm going to set off the Go Lightly Marshall Choir plug.
but we will tomorrow play the full show. and the next day, right?
Yes. Tomorrow, like Joel will have separated the
We would have done it, but
audio.
Joel was too bloody lazy. He was sleeping away.
He's up now playing pool.
What? He's up. Did you hear me, Joel?
Oh, they're uploading, are they? Oh, okay. All right. Well done. Okay, so that's for tomorrow and the next day.
Yeah, all right.
Later, Gators.
And we're going to upload this one as well, so you can look at that.
Well, this is already there. It's live.
Oh,
Yeah. That's
The
what I said.
Go Lightly Martial Hour.
I did. I said we're going live.
freedom-talk-radio.net.